Hey guys, so this is going to be a bit of a weird video. There's not even a green screen, not even a care in the world with me right now. Right now, I just came off of finishing one of the series that I loved season 1 so much. And with it finally coming to an end, with season 2 potentially coming to an end, it's not quite ending. I'm rolling on a blanket here because I was nice and cozy watching my TV show. So I watched season 1 a while back and thought like, damn. It was one of those moments where I was like, this is good. It's not even just good, it's great. Like, it's really great. I haven't heard anything from anybody. And it's one of those series that I was like, it feels like an injustice. Anyways, and then season 2 came around, which was shocking into itself, because again, there wasn't this, I didn't hear a lot about it. I think it sold really well, but I didn't hear a lot about it. So I was like, oh, it's kind of weird that it's getting a season 2. And I watched season 2 thinking that they maybe wouldn't have the budget or wouldn't have this or that or that or this, but no, season 2 is awesome, and it makes so much sense why the season 2 is the way it is. Anyways, I'm done annoying you. The TV show is called Blood Blockade Battlefront. I'll leave a link to the name and all that jazz in the description. And also it's Chinese name or whatever, it's Asian, Japanese, whatever. That, there. And I just finished it, and I'm not sure if you guys have a similar way, even if you guys don't like anime or whatever, you guys can associate it with putting down like a good game or a good TV show or a good book, I'd imagine. But yeah, there's like this feeling of, since I finished it and I no longer have a season 1 or a season 2 to go watch, I did some research, and apparently there's not that greatest odds of there being a season 3 because they ran out of pages of the manga to actually do the anime off. So if they're gonna do it soon, they're gonna have to go off the cuff, I guess. Which there are some instances where that does work out somewhat well. Those instances typically have them working really well or hand in hand with the manga creator or whatever. Anyways, yeah, this video is more me just like, so good, so good. So those guys who are like, well, why is it so good, or what is this even? The show Blood Blockade, let's just call it that, is the show of, well, it's, as soon as I explain, you guys are gonna see or understand why I love it so much. But it's, I think New York City or something like that, has this huge anomaly happen to it, where two worlds get fused together. I always thought it was the underworld basically comes up and they're like sharing the same space, but no, it's a brand new world. But a lot of the creatures look like demon-esque. And yeah, New York City is now populated with 2 different planetoid entities. So you have humans walking around with these like weird fish-looking things and like double like 7 eyes, and then these like roided out dudes and like demons of the other world, which are like superhuman of like jacked things. And then you have like a bunch of lore, and that was one of the things that kind of shocked me, is throughout the series they introduce you immensely to the world, whereas anime doesn't really do the best job of doing a lot of times. It's more like you're following this character and you're kind of paying attention, but more or less neat is kind of where it ends. But it doesn't actually like take the time to showcase you the world, but not make you feel exhausted or like having to look through a social studies book or something like that. Like they talk about these demon hierarchy essentially, that are, and one of them is called the Lord of Depravity. And he's kind of like the Sharagorath of the world, the like crazy but yet fun person that kind of torments humanity just a lot, actually, a very high amount. Anyways, with all this chaos happening within this new city, there's these new people that are kind of like super Illuminati kind of people, who are basically superhumans, and they help kind of keep the city in check, making sure everything doesn't go just balls to the walls insanity, even though it does anyway. But they kind of deal with problems like that. And one of the best things that I never thought would be actually like a good outcome is the main character. The main character is more or less a little like a wimp. Kind of like, he's not like the typical anime Dragon Ball Z annihilate you in half a second kind of mentality. It's not that. Which, coming from a person that loves those tropes, I was shockingly surprised that this actually worked, and it worked so painfully well. Because the main character, yes, he doesn't have these moments of like what is a good like example of it? Can't think of it right now because there's not too many things that do this. Fairy Tail, that's a good one that does it. Lucy doesn't fucking do anything, but yet Natsu is the canon and she just films Natsu basically. Anyways, we are following this main character that essentially is like a younger person. I think he's like 17 or something like that. And he had this horrible event that happened to him that gave him these mystical eyes. So that he can kind of, it's basically like a multi-tool, kinda. It's not like really useful, but it's rare and can help. It's kind of where it is. Anyways, he gets accepted on to this like Illuminati badass team. And again, throughout the course of the entire season 1, you're like, man, Leonardo is doing goddamn nothing. He's just watching events take place. But it's so amazing because it's kind of like humanizing to a certain degree. Like having a person that isn't just roiding out going over 9,000 or something crazy creates this really interesting feeling of, I don't know how to put it. I think it's like trying to extend an arm to people, to normal people. People with maybe not crazy blue eyes and whatnot. By the way, I'm probably just showing you something in the background, you know, just random gameplay of whatever I'm playing, just so you guys aren't like, you know, completely bored. Me just ranting about this anime. Anyway, so yeah, following this character that isn't like overtly powerful and him being surrounded with people that very, very much are. So in this Illuminati group, there is like just a multitude of very interesting characters. There's Klaus, which is the badass gentleman / leader of the group that is the most weird leader. Like, they put tropes on a person, but they put pressure on those tropes as well, I guess. Like, there's moments where, yes, he's a gentleman, but there's moments that define him being that. It's not just like him being like, I'm classy. It's like, no, this is everything I am, and this is the person that I am. And somehow they're able to do that with a character that is written. You know, it's a manga, for Christ's sakes, which isn't able to necessarily get all the depth that a page full of words would necessarily get. And then there, of course, a lot of the characters, it's kind of like a comedy anime. So there's plenty of just an oddball cast. There's like a fish man that straight up is out of Hellboy. And the newest movie, The Water Beneath Us, what is it? God, me and editing, I hope you remember. She's gonna drive me nuts. Anyways. That'd be The Shape of Water, is what I was thinking of. And there's Zap. God, he is the most hateful but lovable character in the entire series. And then there's like these weird side casts of characters that are just so goddamn interesting. Not only because some of them are from a different world, but others are just weird, exaggerated characteristics of any human being. But yeah, Zap's a total D-bag to the main character all the time, but yet he like loves him. It's like a weird thing. Anyway, so the whole story arc is, yes, there's this boy who got kind of had to deal with a demon accidentally. Not really accidentally, it just kind of was thrown onto him. So now he has these badass eyes that can help him see things. And the reason why seeing things is a huge part of the thing is because it can allow them to hunt down god tier enemies because only he can see them and it's a bunch of madness. Alright, so let's add some structure. So the first season is kind of all about the main character, Leonardo. It kind of goes through that pace and it kind of introduces you to some of the characters. But mainly this whole season is about the one and only Leonardo, the main character. And then season 2 did something amazing and I thought was great. Because the way the show is like showcased is opening up case files of this group called Libra, which is the Illuminati group I was talking about. Yeah, they're called Libra, so basically each episode is them opening up a page in one of their adventures. It's in sequence, it's not just like jumping around. But the reason why this is cool is because in season 2 they really put pressure on this and they started to showcase every other character, every other side character, and kind of gave them depth and kind of gave them reason and etc. Like in one of them, you see that there's like a bunch of caricatures, but there's this more quiet, stern, talking dude who basically controls ice, and you find out that he's like a little bit ruthless. Like he's a little bit fine with being crazy and evil, only evil to appease a happy ending almost, kind of like a choosing the lesser evil. Yeah. But even still, such an interesting way they handle that, because not only does he like eviscerate people when he's by himself and he's like handling his own manners, but yeah, I'm trying not to spoil everything, but yeah, season 2 is the compilement of everyone else's story and really sells you on these characters. The only one that they don't really do it, Klaus kind of has an episode in season 1 when he goes to meet a mob boss. It's really cool. It's like a demon. It's not a demon. It's like a otherworldly mob boss. Let's just call them demons. They look fucking like monstrous and shit. That was kind of Klaus's kind of episode, but the other ones in season 2 have like their own in-depth showcase of who they are and etc. And it's just so good, so good. And yeah, I'm kind of bummed a little bit because I don't like again after it's come to an end. These last 2 seasons, I've watched them. All of them are so good, and hopefully by me talking about them and you guys see like that I'm a bit excited, you guys can give them a chance. If it doesn't suit you, then I get it completely. People have different tastes. But yeah, man. But what I was saying was I'm annoyed that it seems like the potential for them even doing a sequel is very limited, or a season 3, which it didn't end. It wasn't like, and the story's completed. Again, it's just like showing documents of their adventures, so it doesn't really end, which is a fantastic model for like an ongoing season or series for you just to be like, and they stopped a giant from just destroying the world or destroying their little island. Alright, that's an episode into itself, bam, and you just go from there. So it's a really smart way of storytelling as well, via the writer's side and the development of a series, I think. Season 2, though, the last 2 episodes do kind of pull back Leonardo's kind of story a little bit. But I do think if there ever is going to be a sequel, like if the person that's writing the story goes anywhere, I think in season 2, he was alluding, they bring up like information that otherwise is pointless unless it comes into effect, you know? so I think, and with Leonardo being this kind of like this rock and that's it, he's not like a cannon, but he's just solid. I mean, that's kind of where he stands when it comes to everyone else. With him being this, I definitely think the writer of the manga or whatever, or if they do go in a direction and surpass the manga at some point, I do think that Leonardo or somebody is going to become a vampire, which that's the whole thing. Quickly, kind of spoiler a little bit, it does a really good job of introducing it. Me telling you this, it doesn't destroy the showcase of it. Anyways, yeah, Leonardo, the reason why he's so essential is because he can find out the names of vampires, which is basically their only like weakness, so that the main guy, boss dude, can seal them. That's only one aspect of it. That's not like the whole anime. It's like just like 2 episodes, and they're like, yeah, this is a big deal, and this is why you're important. Cool. This is why you belong. And then they leave. And the reason why I say that I think it's Leo is one, because he's like the weaker of the thing. Also, he is, I think, the most mentally interesting and strong to deal with, like maybe overcoming a type of hunger or a type of like that. Yeah, I definitely think if there's going to be a season 2, or season 3, that Leonardo is going to become a vampire somehow, because in season 2, they talked about how they kind of skimmed across it when they were fighting a blood breed, which is a vampire. Some of the soldiers made like a half-assed comment basically saying, don't go out there and help him or else you'll get bit, and then he'll have 2 to deal with, which makes this classic vampire rules apply here. You get bit, you get turned. And with Leo being the only thing that can trap them, I think they're gonna focus on taking him down and or winning him over. I think that's just gonna be badass, because the thing with the blood breed, because I think you have to be a superhuman in order to get access to like this blood art or whatever. And as far as we know, Leo is not that. He has the eyes, but he's no way superhuman. But blood breeds by association can affect their blood, aka use blood arts, and that's the whole thing. It's like blood magic, by the way. This whole anime is blood magic. That's what every superhuman uses. This is awesome. Anyways, so I think that would give like Leo the entry point to have some means to defend himself, even though he's not superhuman. If he was a vampire or whatever, that'd be something. Also, for him to overcome that adversity, I can't say the word. Anyways, you get it. After he overcomes that, I think would be a cool arc in itself. But also, again, it just fits really well because he needs some strength. I think he's the strongest mentally to be able to handle that. Oh, and one more thing. With vampires, I think it kind of touches upon it, but it's almost like their body itself can decombust into blood and then regenerate, which would be really cool. Also, it would counter his eyes. His eyes, if he uses them too much, they burn, and it could melt his brain essentially, or his face. So if he had regeneration abilities, that would just work. What I think would be even cooler if at some point in the 3rd season, if they do go down this route of him becoming a vampire, I think it'd be kind of awesome if they did a Tokyo Ghoul and he started eating bitches that were vampires and that was his way, and he was like the way to kill them. Except they don't do a Tokyo Ghoul and they're like, yeah, that's done now. he no longer does that. He no longer is eating its own kind. That'd be weird. It's like, but no, that makes sense. You'd be like a counter to that. Anyways, guys, if you guys couldn't pick up on it, I love this anime to tears. It hurts me to think that we're not going to get one in even 4 years, which makes me sad, unless, again, they just start making it from scratch. I read up on it a little bit, and apparently, again, like I said, the manga isn't even, they've done all the story stuff that the manga has laid out. So if they want to do it, they're either going to have to work with the guy who made the story or just go at it with them by themselves, which, from memory serves, that's never went well. It's never went, good. Yeah. And yeah, it's rare that that anime does this, for me at least. Like, I hear people talk about how, like, certain mediums transcend that medium to a certain degree. A lot of people reference Death Note, where it's like, you don't need to be a fan of anime to really see that this is a fantastic premise and a really well executed story. It kind of transcends being an anime. It kind of is just a good piece of media or whatever. For me personally, being a sucker for like the trope of a monster is only a monster by what he does, not what they look like or etc. That's very much why I love this anime so much, is because I always like my favorite things are when monsters are portrayed counter to the norm, so they're not monstrous. Yeah, my favorite thing is when monsters aren't perceived as just completely and utterly monstrous. There is something more to them. I find that more interesting. Also, I just love that trope. And yeah, that's the main reason why I'm in love with this, so take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, I'd highly suggest go and watch it, guys. Even if you're not an anime fan, I think it's fun. It's a fun one, even if not. Also, while I'm at it, another one that's just purely funny. It's like a funny anime, but also has it has a little bit of like the anime tropes, which are a bit hard to swallow sometimes for new people who aren't really watchers. And I'm not to like put you down, but I'm just saying. Anyways, the anime that I'm suggesting is on Netflix, and it's called, oh my god, the name is so stupid, but it's a good anime, I promise. The Devil Works at a Part-Time Job is the name of it. Hear me out. Hear me out. It's actually pretty worth it, honestly. The first 2 episodes are a bit finicky, but if you get past that, I think you're sold. Not only does it look stylish and amazing, also that's something to be said for the Blood Blockade Battlefront. Just gorgeous, and it's weird design, and it's just satisfying. I can't explain it by the way they use color. The music also in Blood Blockade Battlefront is just, you got some like jazz with rock a little bit and something else. Whew. So good. Anyways, the anime I was talking about, the devil one, The Devil Works at a Part-Time Job, it's just a comedy one, but it also has some like badass moments, some like classic anime, like he's the devil. He's the devil that gets teleported to Earth, but the devil is only as strong as malice, so like the sorrow of others powers him, but he's not exactly a bad guy, so he doesn't want to like shit on everyone's dreams. So he'll find himself in like chaos situations where like a mall gets crushed or something like that, and he'll fucking Hulk out. It's awesome. Anyways, I'd highly suggest that one. That one's way more leaning to comedy. If you just want to watch something funny and lighthearted, yeah, it's there. And there, in that anime specifically, there's like one character that is the kind of anime. For those guys who don't watch anime, anime has a criteria that if you want it to sell, has to have. It's kind of the same thing in video games, where Kojima in Metal Gear Solid always kind of has like a big-breasted whatever, is because it's easy to market like merch and stuff like that for. It's just kind of the same thing with anime. Same thing with like Fairy Tail and etc. Even though their animes aren't necessarily like anything like that, any like pervy whatever, they still have like 2 characters that are like kind of pervy. You know? They kind of like, hey, we see ya, majority audience. Here's 2 characters for you. And it's kind of like the thing that makes anime sell, so they can't hate it too much. But yeah, there's like one character in that anime that kind of has that, so just suspend disbelief if you hate that stuff. I personally find it just hilarious. I love shit like that. It makes me laugh so much because the absurdity of it is too perfect. But guys, that was enough anime talk for me. Sure, we'll name this one Anime Talk, and if this If you guys don't hate this, then maybe this will be a thing. After I finish one, I'll talk about it. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. I'm not like a reviewer or anything like that, but I had to talk about it because Blood Blockade Battlefront was one of those ones where I haven't had that in a while, where I finished a story and I felt hollow inside. I felt like I was empty because I didn't have it in my life anymore. I'm even the person that when something is so good, I'll just never finish it because I never want to feel the feeling of like it being gone and me having to wait for the possibility for it to come back. You know that shit where they're like, if it leaves you and it comes back, it loves you. But if it leaves you and stays away, then it was never meant to be. That never made sense to me, on a side note, because if something leaves you and you're sitting there like a chump with your arms open, fuck that thing. Move on with your goddamn life. It doesn't want you. What's wrong with you? You should move on with your goddamn shit. Anyways, thank you so much for watching as always. I apologize for the background and hopefully I did some lighting things so you guys don't see just my closet there. Nah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching as always. Good 7 outros there. That's best. Thank you guys so much and bye guys.